Hello and welcome to this, the first ever episode of the Shakespeare Sessions podcast. My name is Julia Caesar, no relation, and over the course of the next few weeks, we'll be diving headfirst into in-depth chats with the stars of some of your favourite Shakespeare plays. So if you fancy joining us to hang out with Hamlet, natter with the nurse, or burtle with Bottom, you've come to the right place. Before we begin, I should just share the following disclaimer. None of the people you're about to hear in conversation are aware that they are in fact characters. Their fictional status has been withheld to protect their theatricality. As a result, we will not be discussing the world of theatre as we know it, or their infinite fame beyond the world of their plays. So, without further ado, let's get started with the podcast and this week's special inaugural guest, Prince of Denmark himself, Hamlet. So, Hamlet, thank you for joining us today. How you doing? How weary, stale, flat, and unprofitable seem to me all the uses of this world. Oh dear, not having a good day then? No. Right, well, thank you for joining us for this, the inaugural episode of the No Holds Barred podcast. Thank you for having me. As many of our listeners will know, you are the son of the late King Hamlet, may he rest in peace, and a lot of your subjects were surprised at your mother's sudden marriage to your uncle Claudius. Ugh. Yes. How would you describe your relationship with Claudius? A little more than kin and less than kind. Okay, perhaps you'd like to unpack that a little more for our listeners. How are you feeling about the relationship? How do you think I feel? He's my dad's brother, and she jumped to marry him before my father was even cold in his grave. O most wicked speed, to post with such dexterity to incestuous sheets. Is it incest, though? What? Would we call it incest? I mean, he wasn't her brother. To marry the wife of one's late brother, madam. What would you call it? A Jeremy Kyle storyline? What? Nothing. Sorry, these were different times. So, understandably, you're upset when your mother chooses to move on with your uncle. Then, one night, your friends and staff around the castle come to tell you something. That's correct. They tell you that the ghost of your father has appeared to them on the battlements. Yes. And did you believe them? At first, no. I thought it must be a mixture of the cold of the winter night on the castellations and the heightened emotion flowing through the household at the time. But you were persuaded to go and look for yourself. Yes. And what happened? Your listeners will think I've lost my mind. Go on. Tell us what happened. Well, on the rooftop, I saw the ghost of my father, old Hamlet, who told me that he had been killed by my uncle. And what would you say to all the naysayers, those who believe you may have lost your sanity? I am but mad north by northwest. When the wind is southerly, I can tell a hawk from a handsaw. Great, because that all made perfect sense. Pardon? Nothing. So, I'm curious to ask, as you were born into the role of the Prince of Denmark, if you hadn't been born royalty, what else might you have wanted to be? Or indeed, not to be? I'm sorry. Nothing. Madam, is my inner turmoil some kind of joke to you? No, course not. Sorry. Very well. Since you ask, I had often garnered dreams of becoming an actor. Fantastic. Any reason in particular? I have long admired an actor's skills in being able to suit the action to the word to the action, with this special observance, that you overstep not the modesty of nature. The purpose of playing is to hold as 'twere the mirror up to nature. You haven't watched many soap operas, have you? I beg your pardon. Never mind. So, you decided to try to force a confession out of your uncle by confronting him with his own guilty behaviour in the form of a play depicting the same story. I guess Prince Andrew should be glad Newsnight never thought of this. I decided I would have the players play something like the murder of my father before mine uncle. I would observe his looks, tempt him to the quick. If he did but blench, I would know my course. I knew that the play is the thing wherein I'll catch the conscience of a king. Blimey, You ever thought of writing for greetings cards? Sorry, nothing. So, the players performed a mimed introduction to the story, indicating what was going to happen in the rest of the play. A dumb show. Yes. Oh, come on, Hamlet. It wasn't that bad. Get it? Wasn't that... Yeah, anyway, so the main action of the play then unfolds, and your Uncle Claudius sees the betrayal of his crime, pouring poison in his brother's ear while he slept, and was overcome with guilt and ran away. Yes, that's correct. And so, from that point on, it's fair to say you were plunged into turmoil. Quite. You didn't know what to do for the best. You knew you had to avenge your father's death. My father had made me promise. Oh, yeah? If he made you promise to jump off a bridge, would you have done that too? Sorry, never mind. So, at this point in your life, many people have described you as indecisive. Would you say that's fair? Well, no, I don't think... No, well, I mean, I'm not sure. Perfect. Well, you certainly didn't seem indecisive when you decided to take matters into your own hands, went ahead and attacked Claudius through a curtain, only to realise that it was in fact Polonius, your girlfriend's dad. Well, yes, that was unfortunate. Unfortunate is right. So, at this point, now you've killed someone else's dad, some people might have called it quits. But then Polonius' son, Laertes, comes home to avenge his dad's death, and you end up taking them all on. Look, I don't know what point you're trying to prove there, but I did not come here to be insulted. Come on, Hamlet, there's no need for... Madam, I believe there is every need. Now, if you'll excuse me, I will bid you farewell. I'm not standing around here to be accused and belittled. Good day. Good day indeed, your highness. Well, there we have it. Undeniable proof that the Prince of Denmark maybe wasn't all that indecisive after all.